Hello everyone, I welcome you to Drishti IAS and myself Akshay Gurubhaiye. So guys, again we are with the episode video for this 100 most important topics of environment and ecology for UPSC Prelims 2026. Yes, this particular series is again guys targeted keeping the most important topics and in a way that it should help you to test your understanding first in the way clarity over the topic, then check your understanding with the PYQs, then also have a practice question. Okay, and in every session you will find a bonus for you. So in the session, this session also. Okay, so here now in this session, which points we are going to have discussion on? Yes, these are the topics for today. Yeah, this many topics you will find we will be discussing here in the today's session. Okay, so watch it till the end and you will find clarity on each of this topic along with the PYQs and practice. Then, but before going into the detail, what many of you have commented your answer for the last video itself. Okay, so as I told you, I will provide you answer in the next video. So before going into that discussion, we shall answer this practice session questions first. See guys, now which of the above, see for this kind of question, don't start from this, don't start directly from this, don't waste your time going through this again and then again through. Okay, so which of the following above are examples of in situ at the native place itself? National parks, yes. Seed banks, no. Zoological parks, no. Sacred groves, yes. Okay, so answer to this 1 and 4. Congratulations all of you, right? Those who have attended it, correct. Then Dampa Tiger Reserve, okay, Dampa Tiger Reserve, Mizoram, yes. Again a unique question in itself on protected areas always. Gumti Wildlife Sanctuary, not Sikkim, that is how we are in Tripura, that is PYQ based question. Saramati Peak, Nagaland, correct. Answer is 1 and okay. Then under the UNESCO's Man and Biosphere program, Biosphere Reserve consists of which of the following zone? I told you in the last session, you must be aware about core, buffer, transition, no such a restoration zone. Answer to this is A. Next, according to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, critically endangered categorization is one which that faces an extremely high risk of extinction, is it, or faces a high risk of extinction in the near future? It is in the wild, yes, extinction in the wild. So answer to this question is B. Next, in India, species of tortoise is declared protected under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. What does it imply? It means simply it enjoys the same level of protection as like that of the tiger. Tiger is the national animal, take a Panthera, take this, and that enjoys the highest level of protection. So is the for Schedule 1 species. So answer is next. Then which one of the following has been constituted under the Environment Protection Act 1986, guys? And answer: Central Water Commission, Central Groundwater Board, Central Groundwater Authority. That is the answer to this way. Okay, let me know in the comment box. Then these bodies are established by which act then? Okay, or regulation as well. Okay, then practice question again. Forest Conservation Act requires prior approval of the central government for diversion of forest land. Yes, forest rights recognizes individual and community forest rights of scheduled tribes and other forest dwellers. It recognizes, so we have already discussed. And then Forest Rights Act allows automatic diversion of forest and land for developmental. So answer to this is automatic diversion is not allowed. Answer is 1 and 2. Okay guys, yeah. So that is what all about with the practice question, and I really congratulate you those who have attempted it right. Keep doing this thing, and if you have attempted it wrong, then few of them, okay, that is even doesn't matter. You have to keep on practicing again and okay. Chalo, now we shall start the point discussion on the today's point. Now, wetlands and Ramsar Convention. See, is wetland is simply most important topic here. That what is wetland? That wetland is simply any you will find natural or artificial land that is either on public or private land, that is basically brackish, saline or freshwater land, whatever it may be. If that is above, that is below the 6 meter, above 6 rises above 6 meter, that is simply a wetland. Then simply if it has a great potential to attract waterfowl species, that is a wetland. Then you will find, see, our 75% of wetlands are like, you will find temporary in nature, like rice fields. Okay, so that this wetlands are very important. Rough estimates suggest we have at least 5 to 6 lakhs of wetlands. Okay, but the problem with the wetlands are, the first thing, definition, they are not recognized, they are subject to intense level of pollution, like Belandur Lake in Bengaluru, okay? Or there are many lakes, Vembenad there in the Kerala, okay? You will find there are many, those are subject to pollution. So, in order to protect this wetland of very importance, Ramsar Convention was enacted way back in 1971, 2nd February, yes. And that is the reason it is known as International Wetland Day. 2nd February is known as International Wetland Day. Okay? So you will find wetland. Okay? You will find this Ramsar Convention of wetland importance. It identifies. Then that is again India joined it in 1980s itself. Okay? India joined it later. However, yes, this convention is very important and equally binding also. And the thing is, here under this you will find there is Ramsar site. Okay? Ramsar sites is what? Ramsar, it is site in Iran. And this Ramsar site simply reflect those wetlands identified were very crucial, very important, and hence we need to protect them by all possible means. Okay? So world across there are as of now more than, you will find 2,500 Ramsar sites have been identified. Majority of them they are like in Italy, Spain and that region, Europe, and India has now almost 95 plus wetland Ramsar sites. Okay, so number is subject to change because again after every 6 months new sites have been added, but yes, that is very important, guys. You have to keep yourself in touch with the Ramsar sites and those particular cases. This convention has global wetland outlook also, the very first edition got in 2021 and very important also. See, those wetlands, those are identified as Ramsar sites. If they are again facing a great damage or threat, they are, then there is another record that is known as Montrex record, and under this, if your wetland is categorized as so, that is under threat, it simply means then. Now have PYQs first. Again, see, this world's largest tropical peatland, that is again a type of wetland itself, which holds about 3 years worth of global carbon emissions from fossil fuels, and the possible destruction of which can exert detrimental effect on global climate. It was in the current affair, and that is the very important one. It is the Congo Basin ice. Okay? Then if rainforest, right? If rainforest and tropical forest are the lungs of the earth, yes, that they absorb carbon dioxide and releases oxygen, then surely wetland function as its kidney. Which of them is the following functions of wetland best reflects the above statement as kidney wala function? Okay? So kidney, the work of kidney is to purify itself, okay, to recirculate also. So the water cycle in the wetland involves surface runoff, percolation, evaporation, algae from the nutrient base upon which fish, crustacean, molluscs they can serve. Wetland play a vital role in maintaining sedimentation, balance and soil stabilization. It acts as a filter. Yes, kidney that worked as a filter. And aquatic plant absorb heavy metals and excess. But that is what aquatic plant. So answer to this question is, okay, so you have to connect it with it. Then the practice question for you. Let me know in the comment box what should be answer to this question. And you will get the correct answer for all practice question in the next video. Then eutrophication and algal bloom. Yes, eutrophication, guys. Eutrophication is what? See, these are the two concepts. Because of excessive supply of nutrients to the soil agriculture or maybe some natural means also, you will find surface runoff rather pushes this nutrient to the water body. What happened? Because again the plant and the algae needs nutrient for its growth. You will find with this excessive nutrient supply, it rather started to grow. That algal mass or biomass has now grown considerably, and you will find here the algal bloom phenomena just can be seen. Okay, excessive growth of algae. Now, but as you know, the algal mass one or the other time would rather die, right? So this biomass requires a decomposition also. So this decomposition would rather leads more oxygen demand and the more nutrient demands also, which ultimately, reduces the availability of oxygen over in the water, and the process by the time would lead to a very, hypoxia condition also, okay, where biological chemical oxygen demand has declined, decreased so fast and considerably that now this water is basically not suitable for the living masses, right? So possibly after some time this masses would either die or migrate, okay. This condition is eutrophication. The next stage of this eutrophication and algal bloom, I guess you are clear. There is also a concept of dead zone. Yeah, so dead zone, that is very much in the aquatic system, and what it is you can equally look for. So dead zone is simply when excessive cases there, no plant species or organic matter just could able to survive here. That is what the condition of dead zone, and new dead zone got identified in the Bay of Bengal, okay, recently. Now, see, I have PYQ over on it. There is concern over the increase in the harmful algal blooms in the sea waters of India. What could be the causative factor for this one? Discharge of nutrient from estuaries, yes. Runoff from the land during the monsoon, yeah, that is equally carrying nutrients, and upwelling in the sea, upwelling and downwelling. So nutrients are lying there on the bottom after decomposition, and this excessive nutrient flow at the top would rather promote the algal growth, because algae is anyway, it requires the sunlight, right? So it is at the surface, right? And that is the reason all of the above. Okay? Then practice question for you, and I hope this easy question you all would able to answer it correctly. Okay, let me know in the comment box then, and answer in the next video. Next, ozone depletion. What 1960s and 70s, humanity has started to realize that whatever activity we are doing, industrialization and transportation and all those, that they are having some adverse impact on the environment. So we have to understand the adverse consequences. And what? Ozone depletion is one among them. We just started to realize way back in 70s and more appropriately in 80s. So ozone depletion is simply a process where there is decay of ozone, decay of ozone O3 molecule. That ozone, because of this chlorofluorocarbon, chlorofluorocarbon, what? It reacts with the chlorine that is being released after this decomposition of CNC with the help of stratospheric clouds. Yeah, this CFC that is in use over here in the, you will find AC, refrigerators, or fuming agent, foaming agent, or cleaning agent in the medical industry, or maybe some other purposes also. That is what when released, it moves along with the winds towards the polar region. Okay, polar region. From the polar region, it moves upward being lighter and get attached itself with the stratospheric clouds, right? Stratospheric cloud. This stratospheric clouds in the winter, particularly in the months of summer, receives excessive energy here, okay? And that energy leads to it breaking, releasing carbon or chlorine from the matter, okay? So like CFC, there are also hydrofluorocarbon also, HFC also, bromide also, okay? Methyl bromide, and this way. So this chlorine then react with the O2 plus O, and it separates this molecule of ozone, and then it again gets it separated, now again ready to break the bond of another O3 molecule. Okay, this O3 molecule breaks again, OCl interaction, and this chlorine get itself separated again, and such like this way it will ready to interact again with the another O3 molecule. Like one chlorine atom just would lead to breakdown of 1 lakh O3 molecule, and that is a tremendous potential that this CSC has. Yes, that is the process of ozone depletion, thinning of ozone layer. Okay, what happened, however, like in 1987, then we have Montreal Protocol. the most successive environmental treaty, yes, at this moment of time, where we have successfully curbed the use of CFC by 1990 itself. Okay, developing countries were given different targets. So almost now by 2000, all use of the CFC have been almost zeroed down, and alternative to CFCs have equally been found. Okay, now, so I hope this CFC ozone depletion is now pretty much clear. Now, see, I have question. Chlorofluorocarbon, known as ozone depleting substances, ODS, are used in plastic foams. Yes, they are in production of tubeless tires. Tubeless tires is what that we are using, nitrogen there, right? Cleaning resistant electronic component, yes, and pressurizing agent in aerosol cans. So answer basically 2 is a doubtful. That's the reason. Answer is 1, 3, and then have a practice question to this. Let me know your answer in the comment. Next, greenhouse. Okay, so greenhouse effect. Simply see what Earth has layer of atmospheric component. Okay, what happened, guys? Because of its composition, the CO2, water vapor, methane, and all those greenhouse agents. See, they have a typical property. They allow the incoming radiations. However, they won't allow the outgoing long wave radiations, because of which energy get trapped here in the atmosphere, and slowly and steadily temperature of the Earth would rather rising, right? So this phenomena is known as global warming. That is what a global warming, right? And this phenomena by which it is allowing incoming radiation but won't allow the outgoing radiation, that is simply greenhouse gas. Okay, so we have identified CO2, methane, then water vapor, then carbon dioxide. Okay, so carbon dioxide. Okay, these are all the elements that we have identified as greenhouse gas effect. And in order to deal with this greenhouse effect, we have Kyoto Protocol 1997. Okay, so here release of CO2 had been curbed. Then Paris deal again to limit temperature rise to 1.5 degrees and in exceptional case to 2 degrees by 2100. That is what, see, the target that we have set in for our. Okay, now the question that was recently asked in the last year PYQ itself: carbon dioxide emissions in India are less than 0.5 ton CO2 per capita, right? Though it is absolutely less than developed countries per capita, but that is not 0.5, it is almost 2.2 to 2.5 ton per capita. So that statement is incorrect. In terms of CO2 emission for fuel consumption, India ranks second in Asia. Okay, so this one correct. And electricity and heat producers are the largest. Yes, electricity, particularly coal-based thermal power plant, are the major emitter, and hence answer to this is when. Okay, then have a practice question to you, this guys. Yes, let me know which are the greenhouse gases. Then ocean acidification and coral bleaching. See what it means by ocean acidification. See guys, ocean, it generally has its pH level that is a bit acidic in nature, that is a bit less. Okay, but you will find that is around basic in nature. Okay, so it is almost 8. However, what happened? Because of human interference, yes, human and sometimes natural also, what happened? This ocean, excessive addition of acid and acidic material, what its acidity has increased to 8.1, and possibly in the near future it would be 8.2. Yeah, so you would be like, sir, 8 to 8.1 is not a great amount. Yeah, that is not a very huge rise in, but imagine the spread of ocean, and in order to increase even 0.1 pH, what pH of this oceanic value, how much amount of acid needs to be added there? It's added there. So considering this, now you can understand the gravity of the problem. Yeah, so here like carbon dioxide, like you will find nitric oxide, sulfur oxides, right? These are, and the the sulfuric acid, right? So these are the major elements contributing to the oceanic acidification, and we are facing a lot of problem with it. Now, because of oceanic acidification, what happens? Water quality has significantly declined. Sunlight penetration has equally been affected. Evaporation and cloudal cycle and then climate cycle has adversely affected. Then the impact on the marine life, their navigation, their communication, their body, their skin cancer and their related problems are equally noted. Same that is what applicable then for coral bleaching. Corals are the most diverse species on the Earth's surface, and because of this oceanic acidification, what symbiotic association between corals and algae, zooxanthellae, gets broken, okay, or it's destroyed, and because of which you will find that no symbiotic association, and because of which this coral bleaching phenomena is. We are now entering into fourth mass coral bleaching event. Yes, guys, that fourth mass bleaching coral event have been identified now, and that is a very grave sign of concern. If coral are not, able to sustain on this Earth surface, they are the most sensitive indicator, the bioindicator they are known as. So bioindicator, it means that something, that life form that indicate the health of an ecosystem. Okay, so here you will find that is absolutely a sign of. So have this question, which of the following is are correct? Ocean acidification is caused by an increased absorption of CO2, because CO2, it reacts with water, it gives you H2CO3, so carbonic acidity is leading to rise in acidity. Okay, then coral bleaching is caused by expulsion of symbiotic algae. One thing, guys, one thing I possibly what this rise, that 8.2 is what the oceanic acidity, oceanic pH value, and because of ocean acidification it is now reaching to 8.1 and possibly in the future 8. Okay, so by mistakenly I just explained this, but you can understand this way. Okay, so 8.2 it is, and possibly it would reach to 8 in the future, means acidic behavior is increasing. Okay, so fine. Then coral bleaching is caused by expulsion of symbiotic algae. Answer is both the. Then Rio Earth Summit. Yes, Rio Earth Summit. Now, this Rio Earth Summit, guys, simply that is Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit 1992. This summit was basically, very landmark summit in itself, because that is again known as Earth Summit, Earth Summit, or CBD, Convention of Biological Diversity also, that was finally came out of this. The world and leader accepted that environment needs to be protected. And again under this, we have accepted ourselves, we have given ourselves a target to protect the earth. For that matter, we have accepted Agenda 21. So for 21st century, what sort of agendas we need to have, those were accepted. Forest principle means to protect the forest, reduce the deforestation and conserve the species. And then equally CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity, had been accepted. Then UNFCCC, right, that is a very landmark organization which gives you very, data, information about this United Nations Framework Convention on the Climate Change and related data. It is very, very, very crucial summit that was being held. In order to implement, then, as I told you in the last session, we had this Biodiversity Act also, and many acts world across, and policy initiatives have been taken to fulfill the commitment of Rio Summit. Then later Rio plus 20, Rio plus 10, and Rio plus 20 means after 20 years. Those summits were taken in 2002 and 2012 as well. Okay, see now this question then again under this summit led to the adoption of Agenda 21. Yes, CBD also, and UNFCCC, though it got established 93-94, but yes, got accepted here only. Answer to this 1, 2, and okay. So that is again a much informative right. Then CITES and Traffic. Yes, guys, CITES and Traffic. See, the Convention on International Trade of Endangered Species. This convention was basically in 1963 again, and it was again with the initiatives of various organizations, though got ratified in 1975. Okay, 1975-76. Right. The very purpose is to restrict the wild animal and species, right, trade that is responsible for the endangered nature, okay, or that trade should be in a fair way, that it should not lead to their endangered nature, okay, or threatened category, right? So for this case, CITES have been, you will find, enacted. That is a very legally binding convention on every country that is party to it, and equally India has equally accepted this. Recently, in order or in accordance with the CITES, we have done 2023 Wildlife Protection Act amendment also. Okay, so this recently scheduled as well. And what you will find, this CITES is the landmark or convention, that it does not replace the national laws. National laws would be there, but you need to amend national laws in accordance with the provision of this CITES, which protects how this trade in the animals, this endangered species needs to be carried out. So all birds as well, then you will find marine species also, terrestrial species also, all species you will find, those are to be regulated. Then traffic, what it is, again an international, that kind of NGO that deals with the wildlife trafficking. Okay, so 1975-76 it was equally formed, and that provides you again awareness, that provides you data, that provides you again information how to restrict this wildlife trafficking. Then very important, guys, with the help of trafficking we will find Wildlife Crime Record Bureau, that organization was got established, and we just try to keep that trafficking of wildlife and crime against them to a minimum. So see this question then, yes, so it is an international agreement between the governments, fine. It is legally binding on the states that have joined it, yes, right, both, and it aims to ensure international trade does not threaten survival of wild animals and plants. So you are free to do trade, but not in a way that it lead to endangerment of those. Okay. Then invasive alien species. See the word alien, it means those are outsiders. Invasive, it means they are now penetrating deep into that particular region. Okay. So alien species are not bad, they are also known as exotic species. But if they are now having excessive growth rate, they are creating danger to the native species, and they are limiting the very growth of this particular species, right, and possibly destroying the whole ecosystem balance. They are to be known as invasive alien species. The best example you have seen, water hyacinth, right, that or the layer of that grasses or that leaf you will find on the lakes. Or recently Sena spectabilis, that mission was launched by the Kerala government to eradicate this one, right, Congress grass, that also sometimes we call it that particular case, that is equally invasive alien species. Okay. Or even in terms of animal, lantana, right, lantana in West Bengal, that is also invasive, that is known as sorrow of Bengal, that is also. Okay. Then you will find that invasive alien species also mongoose, that is in Japan, okay, that is in Japan, or that Burmese snake over in USA. So any plant or animal, when it enters into another ecosystem and it destroys the overall balance of ecosystem, that becomes invasive alien, become uncontrollable sometime, invasive alien species. So see, now that is what question for you, practice question you will be answering me in the next session. Next, environment impact assessment. So all these particular issues, right, what we have discussed, guys, they are having some significant impacts on the environment. And in order to protect them this impact, we have to have some environment impact assessment before the commencement of the project, mid commencement and the end of the project as well. Okay. So environment impact assessment was basically a philosophy that was promoted in 1980s, 85 itself in the USA. Okay. In India, it was under Environment Protection Act 1986 that got its approval, however not made mandatory, but in 1995 and 6 later you will find it later made mandatory. How? Okay. So for every important project that is having a again categorization is there, need to have environment impact assessment. And recent judgment of the Supreme Court again for that environment impact assessment de facto, that was basically post facto approval for the environment impact assessment had been removed by the Supreme Court. Okay, important. Now again under this there are few stages under EIA. Screening, first you need to screen and identify the issue, then area. Scoping, impact and prediction, what sort of impact would be there. Then impact mitigation is there, okay, how you are going to mitigate the impact. Then reporting, then report, accordingly file research and then report. Then decision making with the local environment and government as well, and monitoring and evaluation further, है ना. So even after approval, you have to keep on evaluation for the purpose to avoid any adverse impact on environment. Yes, that is simply what this environment impact assessment, right? Very important, guys. Okay, so public consultation under EIA includes public hearing, written responses, and judicial review. Mainly, you will find, the way to this is one and okay. So public consultation that mainly deals with the this way, and public contribution. Judicial review is equally the next part of. So guys, these are all those important topics which we have discussed, taking all the help of PYQs, taking all the help of this practice questions also, and I hope you guys are getting this. Those practice questions here in this session you will get answered in the next session. So watch it for sure, share it with your all friends also to get them to have them benefit also. Thank you, all the best.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.